Show me the money.
We do have Oscar.
Oscar.
And so Oscar, unmute and ask your question.
Front of me.
Oh my goodness. There's not a lot.
Oscar, gracias to you. Thank you very much for your call, your conversation.
Well, Oscar, it wouldn't be a post-game presser without you.
The timeout, and then does he stay in? He does.
Oscar, 2 weeks in a row, brother.
XFL on 3-on-3. 1, 2, 3. XFL.
You're our unofficial mascot, and I love you, and I appreciate the support you have shown me and our team. Thank you, Oscar.
Let's go. Go up. Look yourself in the mirror. Trust the man next to you, and he's gonna win this damn game. This is not our last game.
Goodbye, Oscar. Thank you for following us all season and all your support, Oscar. It's greatly appreciated.
¿Cómo era? Chan, 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 chan. No, porque aquí no es perrito, es más como de emoción. ¿No?
Bueno, todo el tiempo es emocionante y más el de hoy.
Sí, no, voy más, ¿no? Amigos, ¿cómo están? Bienvenidos, Game Plan UFL, la United Football League.
La querida.
La querida, estimada, privilegiada, todo lo que sea emoción está en esta liga. Que bueno, para la gente que está viendo este segundo episodio de esta temporada 1 de la UFL, pero que viene precedida de temporadas de la USFL y la XFL. Nos hemos fusionado, es una fusión.
Como
todos somos...
todo es amor, todo.
Como este 14 de febrero, ¿no?
Claro.
Estamos en 14 de febrero, tanto aquí como allá, me refiero tanto en México como en Estados Unidos.
Y donde vean también.
En todo el orbe, ¿no? Pues el 14 de febrero.
Peace and love.
Peace and love, ¿no? Un saludo a Ringo Starr, ¿no?
All you need is love.
All you need is love, The Beatles, ¿no? Todo mundo, ¿no? Todo mundo, hasta los más oscuros, tienen su corazoncito.
Claro, por supuesto.
Y hay canciones que hacen referencia
también.
Al amor, a la pasión que le tenemos a este bendito deporte del fútbol americano.
Así es, tanto que no dejamos que muera la llama del fútbol americano.
Y nunca lo dejaremos de hacer aquí, en cualquier lado, y por supuesto con la UFL. Un abrazo a nuestros amigos de la United Football Media. Muchas gracias, en verdad, y a toda la gente que nos sigue, tanto en México como en los Estados Unidos, ¿no? Thank you very much to all the big fellas in the United States.
Así es.
Este show que está en su segundo episodio, 14 de febrero. Me gusta lo que hacen los equipos, no solo de la UFL, pero este es el espacio dedicado para la UFL, con estas láminas, ¿no? Estos artes.
Los artecitos.
En sus cuentas de redes sociales, ¿no? De social media, pues con el tema de San Valentín, ¿no?
Pues es que hay que subirse al tema, ¿no? O sea, como sea, pero hay que estar.
Pues al menos un día que el mundo esté happy, ¿no? O sea, que nos olvidemos un poquito por un instante de las buenas, las malas.
Sí, y vaya que han ocurrido cosas.
Porque sí, siempre lo decimos, ¿no? Si las cosas no las haces con pasión, más allá de lo que te dediques, ¿no? Sea lo que sea, si no tienes pasión por pues, tu mamá, tu papá, tus hermanos, por la familia, si no tienes pasión por el trabajo, el que sea, ¿no? No tiene que ser un deportista, no tiene que ser un comunicador, un abogado. El trabajo que tengas, la actividad que hagas, si no lo haces con pasión, pues sí está como que algo no.
Está complicado.
Algo no rifa, ¿no?
Así es.
Y ahí ya producción ya puso varios de los artes. Hay unos muy buenos, ¿no? El del coach Di Filippo, a quien le mandamos un saludo. Ahí está su arte. Y ya también le hice saber que pues, sí, o sea, The Flip, pero con una corona.
Para la próxima vamos a tener una corona aquí.
Ya estamos ahí haciendo tras bambalinas el tema para que pues, aquí pueda estar una corona.
Ay,
o
sí.
si no, pues una chela de cualquier otra marca, pero pues, chela al fin, ¿no? Pues el tema es que cuando venga a México el coach o nosotros vayamos para allá, pues vayamos armados,
sí, pues,
en el buen sentido de la palabra, ¿no? Hubo de muchos, pero aquí, y lo pusimos en redes sociales, ¿no? Y ya causó su furor el tema de Jordan Ta'amu.
¿Pero por qué Jordan Ta'amu?
Los que no sepan, y de eso se trata este show también, de compartir el tema bilingüe, pues, el sonido del apellido, del last name, Tamu o Tamu, es muy parecido al te amo.
Como una contracción.
¿No? Es un juego de la cacofonía de la palabra, ¿no? Tamu, te amo. Entonces, it's a joke, ¿no? It's a really great joke between this couple, ¿no? Jordan Tamu, Jordan te amo, ¿no? Te amo, la palabra I love you, ¿no? It's like a crazy game with the last name of Jordan. It's only this. A great joke, una gran broma, ¿no? Que tiene un sentido...
Y es que ahora con esta nueva forma de escribir, por ejemplo, en WhatsApp, ¿no?
Brother, ¿no?
Pues sí,
My
o sea,
brother.
realmente como que ahora tienen esa...
Contracciones.
Sí. Como cuando escribían las canciones allá en Suecia, ¿no?
Ándale.
Y que hacían así para que rimara la canción.
Sí,
Ahí está, pero no existe, o sea, no era así.
Sí, bueno, hay una palabra, por ejemplo, los jugadores, ¿no? The players, muchas veces el sonido es the playa. The playa, ¿no? Acá playa es the beach.
Exacto, es algo distinto.
With Jordan Tamu es jugar con te amo,
claro.
¿no? Tamu.
Sí.
Un jugador que lo hemos seguido y hemos tenido el privilegio de narrar algunos de sus partidos a nivel colegial cuando estaba en Ole Miss, ahora ya en la XFL con los DC Defenders. Pues hay un pequeño tributo y un saludo a Jordan
Tamu.
Lo que no es un juego es que ya se dio a conocer el libro de reglas,
Ya está.
o como decimos de este lado, el reglamento para la temporada 2024. Y pues ya tenemos aquí, ya lo imprimimos, ya lo
Ya lo
envergolamos, porque uno sigue siendo la vieja escuela, ¿no? I am a guy of old school, I need the paper. I don't read very well in the computer, ¿no? Or iPad.
Es muy cansado.
De pronto la vista se cansa, ¿sí? Entonces mejor aquí, y ya estaremos platicando y desglosando, porque es parte de nuestra chamba.
Sí, claro.
El conocer el reglamento, de inicio pues llama la atención, y platicamos rápidamente de que las patadas, el kickoff, se mantiene como lo conocimos en la USFL, con esta modalidad. Ya en el siguiente capítulo entraremos con más detalle, porque ya el señor productor nos está haciendo seña. Les hemos venido diciendo que este episodio 2 tiene un ingrediente muy especial, una sorpresa, una exclusiva.
Sí, claro, ¿no?
Propiamente dicho. Ya está por ahí.
There you go. My mute just went off. There you go. There you go.
Ya se está viendo también ahí. Pues sin mayor preámbulo y en lo que termina de conectarse el coach Skip Holtz. Qué maravilla poder platicar con nuestro amigo Skip Holtz aquí en Game Plan. Me parece que ya está ahí. Coach, can you see us? Can you hear us? Yeah. Okay. Hola, coach.
We're all good now, Oscar. We're all good.
Hello, coach.
Amigo.
How are you? Like always, I told you, the first question is so simple. How are you?
Doing excellent. Doing very well. We've just a lot of things going on, a lot of really positive things going on, but doing great. Really just itching to get started again. Really excited about all the changes that are going on our individual team and changes that are going on in the big picture. I think it's an exciting time right now to be part of spring football, and I'm really fortunate and blessed to have an opportunity to be here.
Okay. How looks to you this new season with the merge between the USFL and the XFL?
I think we had 800 players between the two leagues combined, and now there's going to be 400. And we were able to draft the 4 disbanded teams from each league. And so really you look at 4 teams, there were there were 80 starters, 88 starters in the USFL and 88 starters in the XFL that are now on people's rosters that are fighting for a roster spot. And I think it's going to make the talent much deeper. I think the product is going to be much better on the field. And it's certainly created a lot of excitement for us to add this much talent to our roster. But I think you also have a lot of unknowns. Like we don't know how good everybody else is. We don't have film of what everybody looks like. It's going to be very similar to our first year in the USFL, where you really don't know what it's going to look like until we get out there on the grass. But I do know we're going to have a lot more talent on every team than we've had in the past.
Coach, do you believe this is the first hit of the UFL?
Yeah, I think there's going to be a lot better talent. I think what you've really eliminated is you've tried to take, instead of having 800 players, you've tried to select the top 400. And what the league has done is we all had to cut. Our roster was up to 67 players. We had to cut to 42. And then we were able to draft out of the leagues. We were able to draft we had a draft where the USFL division drafted our teams and the XFL drafted theirs. And then 2 weeks later, we came back and we had a draft that had every other player was involved and any player that was unprotected. And so then we had a unified draft where we had 8 teams. Birmingham drafted last. Because we had won it 2 years in a row. And so we had the best record. And so we had the last draft. And then after the 2 drafts, then we've all added an awful lot of free agents, guys that maybe were in the NFL last year and all of a sudden got cut off a practice squad or didn't get a futures opportunity. And so I think you're going to see a lot of movement. And even as this continues to go on, with free agency being added to each one of the rosters. But I think the coaching staffs are very, very talented. You have a lot of big names that have coached for a long time, and you have some very, very talented players. But the majority of the players at some point in time have some NFL experience. And I just think it's going to be a really quality product that's going to get put on the field this spring.
Coach, how do you feel with these great coaches in this league? Names like Coach De Filippo, yourself, Coach Wade Phillips, the Coach Stoops. How do you feel?
I'm excited. I'm very excited. I look at Mike Nolan and look at his background. I look at De Filippo and every place he's been. You mentioned Stoops and Wade Phillips. I know Coach Beck at St. Louis. There are some really high quality football coaches in this league. And I think it's taking, upgrading the talent and upgrading the staffs, I think is going to make it only better. I know on our staff in particular, we have a lot of new faces. On defense, John Chavis remains our defensive coordinator, but Bill Johnson, who's won 2 Super Bowl rings, is going to coach our defensive line. And then in the secondary, Corey Chamblin, who has been a coordinator in Canada, has coached a lot in the spring leagues. David DeGuglielmo's our new offensive line coach, who has won 2 Super Bowls and been in the NFL for 16 years. I think you've got some really quality coaches, and add that with some really quality players, and I think you have a chance to have a really quality product.
Okay, Coach, can you tell us about how was the process to the merge?
It's been a process. It has been a process because of how are you going to disperse the talent? How are you going to add it? Like each team last year in the USFL, we brought 58 players to camp, where this year we're bringing 75 players to camp. And so I think it's going to be much more competitive early. And how do you make sure that you have the most talented 75 players on these rosters? And that's where I think it's going to get fun, because once we go to camp, we're going to have 30 days and we've got to go from 75 to 50. And we're going to have to cut 25 players. And like I said, so it has definitely been a process. but it has been exciting. It's been new. It's definitely been something different for all of us, and you can't sit status quo. You've got to continue to get better with what you're trying to do, but that's professional football. And I really like the process that we've been through to this point to build our rosters.
Okay. The USFL, the XFL, now the UFL, is some kind of way like college football. No, I mean the players and the teams have a short time to be together. No, it's like a college football,
Right.
because the players need the second chance in the NFL.
They do, and that's what they're all here for, is to get that. And so I've always said, Oscar, that a football team has a life expectancy of 1 year. And this upcoming year is going to be a different team than last year's team. After we won our first championship after year one, I made the comment then, year two, we had a totally different football team. We had a lot of guys that stepped up. And as I said, gone was Tays. J.R. Smith was our quarterback year one. And Alex Magoo became our quarterback year two. And when Alex got his opportunity, because Jamar got injured. And so, I mean, I think right now for us, it's just, we've got to put this team together. We're going to bring them to camp on February 23rd. And then we are going to start putting them together, and we are going to find out who the 2024 superstars are going to be for the Birmingham Stallions when we come to camp in February.
Coach, we need to ask you about the three-peat.
Well, three-peating is very difficult, as you know, and I think it's only been done a couple times in professional sports. It's hard because, you know, when you win, you put a target on your back. Everybody's aiming for you. You're the team that everybody wants to beat. You draft last in all the drafts. So everybody else gets to acquire talent before you do. You kind of get what's left, you know what I mean, after everybody else picks. But professional sports is set up for all 8 teams to have an equal opportunity to win it. And I think I love the model, but the model that's set up to give everybody a chance, it makes it very, very difficult to build a dynasty. And that is certainly something that we are going to try and do. We are going to try and win a championship this year. I don't think winning the first 2 has anything to do with year 3, because we're going to have a lot of new faces. But that's still the goal and what we're trying to do and put it together. And that's why we roll our sleeves up and we go to work every day to be successful, Oscar.
Coach, and we are closer and closer for the kickoff, no? The first game. How looks to you? What is your opinion about this champions matchup, no? The Birmingham Stallions at the Arlington Renegades.
You know, it's going to be, I think, everything that it's being built to be. I mean, you have the champion of the XFL from last year in Arlington. You have the champions of the USFL, and what better way to the USFL, and what better way to kick off the UFL, the new league, than to have the 2 champions start the season in the very opening game on that March 30th. And so I think it's going to be exciting. There's going to be an awful lot of eyes on it. I really like the way that the UFL has maintained the tradition of the XFL and the USFL by naming the 2 conferences, the XFL conference and the USFL conference. And we will have a chance to play everybody in the XFL, and we will play everybody in the USFL twice. And I think it's going to make for really entertaining football. If you are a football fan, I think spring football is going to be something that is going to be fun to watch. I think the networks have come together, both ESPN, Fox Sports 1. I think it's all coming together. There's going to be great exposure. There's going to be great coverage for these teams, for these players. And I think I think the television networks have done a great job of really opening up what the inside of the huddle looks like, with the way all the coaches are microphoned up. A lot of the players are mic'd up. The cameras are in your huddle. They're in your face when you're calling plays. I mean, I think they really give the fans a unique perspective of the conversations that are going on that nobody's ever been privy to in watching a football game. And I think that's part of what makes the fun is the interaction for the fans to see the coaches and players communicate during the game.
Coach, we need to ask about Brandon Aubrey. He has a wonderful season with the Dallas Cowboys.
I mean, to kick 35 straight field goals, which I think ties for the second most ever in the history of the NFL. He not only was a rookie kicker, but he was second all-time ever in kicking 35 consecutive field goals. And he had one of the guys that was better than him had kicked one field goal over 50, and Brandon Aubrey kicked 9 kicks over 50 yards to get to that 35 in a row. I think he's got a phenomenal leg. I think he was discovered in the USFL, but Brandon Aubrey has definitely made the most of his opportunity. And as proud as I am of all of our players, I'm particularly proud of guys like Brandon Aubrey, Alex Magoo, Davion Davis, a lot of those guys, Austin Watkins, that not only signed with an NFL team, but the NFL team has signed them up again for next year. And I think that's the fun part about this league. That is where we get our reward, is in watching these players move on and better themselves. And that is what the UFL is all about, is discovering talent and giving these young men a second opportunity to earn their chance to play in the NFL.
Yeah, it was a wonderful season for Brandon Aubrey. You know very well, Brandon, how he make this possible. He looks so cool. No,
yes.
He run to the field and is calm, so cool. How is Brandon Aubrey outside the field?
Very similar to how he is on the field. I think Brandon is not awed by the situation. Brandon, he played professional soccer or football, as you say it, but he played in the MLS, the Major League Soccer. He played in that league. He's been in professional sports. He's older, but he is very focused. But nothing bothers him on the field, off the field. Low-key personality, laid back, but very focused as an athlete and very driven to be successful. And I think what he has had the opportunity to do with the Dallas Cowboys is a real testament to him and the hard work that he has put in to being the professional kicker that he is today.
Coach, like you know, this show is called Game Plan. And we have a quote. Could you say it, please, for all the audience?
In life, as in football, we always need a game plan. Giddy up.
Thank you very much, Coach. And what is your opinion about this quote?
I would agree 1,000%. I think we always talk about the analogies of football to life. And you know what? The lessons that it teaches us on organization, commitment, structure, having a plan, putting your work in to be able to get to where you want to be, the commitment, the determination, the intangibles that it takes in order to be successful. I think just like in life success is a choice. I think success on a football team is a choice. Are we going to give up our individuality, be bigger than something than ourselves in a team? Are we going to be committed? Am I going to work hard? Am I going to have a game plan? Am I going to be organized? Am I going to go work at my craft to be able to be successful? Very similar as in life. People that are successful, it's a choice. It's a choice of being organized. It's an attitude that we choose every day, that we choose to be successful, just like in football, just like in life. I think that's what I love about the similarities between the game of football and the game of life. The game of football is hard, but the game of life is hard. And it's not always fair. And sometimes you got to work a little bit harder than somebody. Maybe somebody in football is bigger than you or stronger than you or faster than you. Well, then you have to work harder and you have to be smarter. Then you have to be a better technician and better fundamentally. Just like in life, sometimes that happens. And you've got to have an attitude that when you get knocked down and you got to get up and you got to go play again. I mean, that's what success is all about, as in football, as in life.
Wow. Coach, thank you very much. Gracias, Coach. Thanks so much. See you soon.
My amigo.
Qué maravilla. Qué maravilla el coach Skip Holtz aquí en Game Plan.
Así de fácil.
Lo hemos dicho desde el día 1. Aquí sus dos amables servidores, no apasionados del fútbol americano, vertimos opiniones, hablamos, hacemos reportajes, artículos, estamos de aquí para allá, cruzamos el muro, regresamos, pero lo más importante es que escuchen a este tipo de personajes.
No, y de verdad hacemos hasta lo imposible, tal cual, para que sucedan ese tipo de cosas, que para nosotros es una alegría poder compartirlo con ustedes, o sea, porque al final sí es un trabajo, pero que vale la pena el poder estar aquí enfrente del coach, platicar y por supuesto compartirlo con todos ustedes.
Sí, y ustedes son la gente que nos escucha, que nos ve, ¿no? Dependiendo de la plataforma en la que sigan este show cómico, mágico, musical de Game Plan UFL. Son ellos son los que nos hacen vibrar, ellos son los que nos hacen emocionar, a veces hasta llorar, sufrir, ¿no? Y la identidad que tenemos y esa capacidad de identificarnos con ellos se logra justo con esto, ¿no? Platicando, teniendo la oportunidad y bueno, una maravillosa entrevista con el coach Skip Holtz, nuestro amigo, our friend.
No, y que de verdad es amigo, o sea.
Sí, tenemos la bendición de...
Hay que decirle a la gente que no es la primera vez que se tiene contacto con el coach, digo, ya lo podrían revisar también en otros episodios de Game Plan. Sería el segundo año que pues ya sabe de la existencia de Oscar en particular, así muy claro, o sea, cómo lo persiguió y todo para que pudiera, porque aparte, o sea, realmente, por ejemplo, Alex Magoo también, que fue quarterback de los Stallions,
sí,
ubica perfectamente a Oscar.
Hoy
esa
con
parte,
los Green Bay Packers.
Exacto, ¿no? Y que bueno, pues ya hay otras noticias que después diremos, ¿verdad? Sin embargo, pues es padre poder compartir con la gente que sabe. Aparte, es hijo de lujo, o sea, para todos los que apenas también se están iniciando en ese tema de la UFL, pues de notar que es un coach con mucha experiencia, que viene de una escuela interesante con su papá y que bueno, pues viene de esta realeza del fútbol también, ¿no?
Sí. Así tendremos este tipo de sorpresas. Me gusta llamarlo más sorpresa que la palabra rimbombante de exclusiva, que lo es, pero aquí somos más dicharacheros. Pues, es una sorpresa, es la oportunidad de poder escuchar de viva voz de quienes están ahí, en la línea lateral, en la directiva, en fin, a todos.
Todos tenemos.
Esta ventana está abierta justo para que el aficionado sea el máximo beneficiado de escuchar a los principales protagonistas de este bonito rock and roll llamado fútbol americano. Y como lo platicábamos con el coach, ¿no? Pues el primer duelo, y que ya nos frotamos las manos, es el de los dos campeones, los Stallions contra los Arlington Renegades.
Que una vez más está dividido.
Sí, este hogar ya sabe, ¿no? Hoy se vistió de gala porque como platicó con el coach Steve Holtz, ¿no? De Brandon Aubrey, que vaya un abrazo también para Brandon. Búsquele ahí, y si no, más adelante le haremos un resumen de cómo es la historia, de cómo lo descubrió, porque hoy nos dio su punto de vista de lo que sucedió ya con los Dallas Cowboys. Pero el coach Steve Holtz fue el que le dio la oportunidad, estuvo 2 años con los Stallions y brincó a la NFL y lo aprovechó de manera...
Una vez más voy a decir, no, o sea, está padre lo de la esposa, o sea, está padre
es
que la
parte
hecho
de...
del folclore, o sea,
pero
así.
No es el núcleo.
Exacto. O sea, no es espontáneo, no es así como
no es de cae, me levanto y lo hago.
Oye, pues, un día te voy a decir, oye, levántate, ¿por qué no vas? Y, o sea, y de repente apareces en no sé en dónde, ¿no?
Sí.
O sea, al final creo que tiene mucha, pero muchísima validez lo que el coach comenta de cómo se dio la historia, Porque hay un eslabón perdido entre que la esposa le dice y cómo llega a jugar con los Cowboys.
Bueno, hay como 2 años y medio de trabajo.
Eso es lo que hay que decir a la gente, que no es nomás de, ay, estaban comiendo palomitas en un
Sí, ya
partido.
en la tarde
y
ya
así,
era
ay,
pateador.
sí, mañana. Ah, ¿qué crees? Estoy con los... Y aparte con los Cowboys, ¿no?
Sí, sí.
Con cualquier equipo.
Sí,
ahí,
no, sí, ya.
o sea,
Sí, ni Mandrake.
ni Mandrake. Entonces, y ahí la tendrán por si hay dudas.
Exactamente. Y pues bueno, 14 de febrero de 2024, episodio número 2 de Game Plan UFL. Insistimos, un saludo a todos, ¿no? Por supuesto, el agradecimiento a la plana mayor, Dwayne Johnson, The Rock, Dani García, Darryl, el Moose Johnson. Ahí está, ¿no?
Siempre están presentes.
Nadie puede negar la cruz de su parroquia.
Claro.
Los Dallas Cowboys, el Moose, un gran amigo, ¿no? Que le mandamos un saludo. A todos los coaches, ya lo destacábamos con Skip, ¿no? John DeFilippo, Son of Boom, ¿no? Wade Phillips, cada uno de ellos, los 8 entrenadores en jefe. Afortunadamente tenemos esa dicha de estar cercanos a ellos, de poder platicar y de tener de primera mano con los jugadores. Evidentemente, ¿no? La llegada ahora de Matt Corral con el equipo de los Stallions. Ya platicaremos en el siguiente capítulo, tenemos tiempo todavía. El kickoff es en 45 días. Justo estamos en el countdown. 45 días para el kickoff de la temporada 2024.
Un mes y un cachito.
Eso es todo, eso es todo, eso es todo. Eso es todo, amigos, ¿no? That's all, folks, ¿no? Decía...
Sí.
Los dibujos animados.
Así es.
Pero vámonos felices y contentos después de esta amena, grata charla con el coach Skip Holtz de los Birmingham Stallions, actuales campeones de la USFL, y que ahora en esta nueva etapa de la UFL, pues se lo preguntaste bien, el tripit. Ser tricampeón no es fácil, pero
todo puede pasar.
Están más cerca que los demás. Ya tiene 2.
Sí, ya tiene 2.
¿No?
Como quiera.
Pues bueno, el que mucho se despide es porque no se quiere ir. Así decimos de este lado en México. Es un dicho.
Así es. Pues ya, próximo.
Vámonos yendo.
Sí. Feliz 14 de febrero.
Feliz 14 de febrero a todos. Recuerden, amor y paz a los amigos, a la familia, a todos. Vean Game Plan Daily, porque también tendremos sorpresas. Esto se empieza a multiplicar, aunque todo el mundo diga, ya se acabó el Super Bowl, ya no hay fútbol americano. ¿No? Vean Game Plan.
Exacto, vean Game Plan.
Show me the money.
We do have Oscar.
Oscar.
And so, Oscar, unmute and ask your question.
Pardon me.
Oh my goodness. There's not a lot.
Oscar, gracias to you. Thank you very much for your call, your conversation.
Well, Oscar, it wouldn't be a post-game presser without you.
The timeout, and then does he stay in? He does.
Oscar, 2 weeks in a row, brother.
XFL on 3-on-3. 1, 2, 3. XFL.
You're our unofficial mascot, and I love you, and I appreciate the support you have shown me and our team. Thank you, Oscar.
Let's go. Go up. Look yourself in the mirror. Trust the man next to you, and he's going to win this damn game. This is not our last game.
Goodbye, Oscar. Thank you for following us all season and all your support, Oscar. It's greatly appreciated.